Welcome to Daily Meditation with Sangha Live. Hello and good morning and welcome. Nice to see you. Nice to read you, checking in and greeting each other and reporting on how you get out of bed this morning. Nice. Yes. I'm in Bordeaux. I was here to give a public talk last night. Saw a couple of you there, which was nice. And it's always interesting trying to say something, about meditation and trying to kind of transmit something about the depths and beauty and potency of Dharma practice in a short time, hour and a half, to people who may, have done just a little meditation, but don't really have a sense of the kind of the mapping of Dharma. I often teach retreats, right? And so then I've got a whole week with people. I can go very slowly. I can just trust in the goodness of their practice. Of course I try to say something helpful, but I always feel it doesn't matter much what I say. Just let them bathe in the silence and in the kind of the rhythm of practice, in the atmosphere of care and support, the mutuality of practicing together, and let that kind of work its magic. Or we might meet like this, and just for an hour, but the vast majority, I know of you, are kind of in the stream of practices and teachings. And so again, it's like, okay, I can say a little bit, but basically I just sort of can trust in the goodness of your practice. So it's a very different thing to have a short time with a group of people who are, maybe they're not exactly skeptically, but at least they're there curiously, right? They haven't fallen in the bath, as you say in French. They're not, they haven't, they're not there knowing that this is the good medicine for them. They're there to find out, what's this guy got to say? Might this be the good medicine? So of course one tries to say something helpful, but more than that, it's really about, I was just reflecting on this last night, it's more about just resting in my own love of Dharma practice, the recognition of the way I kind of attribute whatever benefit there's been in my life, whatever ease I enjoy in my life, whatever good fortune I enjoy in my life, whatever, whether it's the outer circumstances, whatever's feels like a blessing in that, and the inner resources of whatever feels like a blessing in my capacity to navigate life kind of more fluidly and freely. I sort of return all of that to the Dharma. And if I don't actually know, right, I think to some extent, life you just get better at life as it goes on, right? When you're in your 20s and 30s, oh my goodness, it's things are confusing. And then you sort of learn how to be an adult. You learn how to manage your own sort of psychological eccentricities. And you're just not as insecure as you used to be. Right? So we might still find neurotic or fearful patterns or angry reactive patterns. But there's a certain way in which, growing older, you sort of get better at life. And I can't distinguish, right, after 35 or 40 years of practice, I can't really distinguish what of this is just aging and getting a bit more used to life and not being as insecure as I was when I was younger. And what of this is actually, oh no, this is the power and the blessing of my practice. So because it's impossible to know the answer exactly to that question, my response is I just give all the credit. I give all the credit to my practice. I give all the credit to the Dhamma. And it doesn't matter how true that is or not, because what matters is the feeling of it. It's like the feeling of it is supportive of my love of practice, my commitment to practice, and my sense that, wow, this is the good medicine. This is the good medicine. So, the fact that you're here today is because you know that this is the good medicine, right? And yet, no doubt, moments of doubt arise. We say, oh, look, I've been meditating for X amount of time. I've been coming to Sangha Live every day for, and when I sit, oh my goodness, I still get distracted or lost or grumpy or sleepy or whatever. It's not the helpful way to trust in the goodness of one's practice. Don't look for what's wrong. Don't look for what's wrong in your practice. Look for the blessings. Look for the ways in which you're just a bit more in tune with yourself. Look the ways in which things that used to make you fearful or reactive just have less of an impact these days. The person who was hosting the talk that I gave last night, she came on retreat with me at the Mulan in October last year. And she spoke really quite touchingly when she was just introducing me. So it was an organization that invited me, but it just so happened that the person who was facilitating for the organization had been on retreat. And she spoke at the beginning about how since she came on retreat in October, she's sat every day. She puts her alarm on for 7:20, she said, and she gets up and she sits. She sits. And she just spoke for a few minutes about the way she'd noticed the changes in her life as a result of that sitting over the last 5 months. And then later she was telling me that just that day, yesterday, she had been cycling in Bordeaux in the street, and basically a father with his child sort of stepped out. The father was looking at his phone, stepped into the road. She saw him, but the child was behind him. She swerved to avoid the father, but in doing so, came very, very close to hitting the child. And she managed to swerve and brake and shout, and they just managed to avoid hitting the child. And what she reported from that is just feeling the sense of fear and panic, kind of a grip in her chest, right? Completely understandable feeling, that we instinctively, despite the crazy ways human beings can behave towards one another, we instinctively don't want to hurt anyone, and that instinct may get covered over by aggression and fear and greed and all those things, but basically instinctively part of us knows we don't want to hurt anyone. So understandably she felt this grip, adrenaline, fear, panic. But what she said, noticed, she, rather than just that taking over and her collapsing into tears or into shouting at the father or whatever it is, she just felt it. She in that moment, she felt the grip in her chest. And without trying to do anything, it's not like, oh, let me practice with this. No, the practice is in the regularity of maintaining a practice of sensitivity, awareness, openness, tenderness, letting go. So that then in that moment of difficulty, she felt it come, she felt into it, and she felt it move, and she felt it disperse, and she felt it be gone. And that sense of our experience, particularly difficult experience, being able to pass through without residue, to pass through without drama, to pass through without reactivity. When it's in difficult moments, when our strongest patterning takes over. So if your strongest patterning, which is the case for most people, if your strongest patterning is your reactive patterning, that's what will come to the fore. in difficult moments. And particularly difficult moments of danger, threat, fear. But if your strongest patterning is the patterning of your practice, the patterning that you intentionally train in to be spacious, open, tender, clear, then that's what comes forward in those moments. So, that's what she's describing, right? She's describing the goodness of her practice. So, in that spirit, I'm glad you're here today, because that's what we're doing, right? We're putting money in the bank, right? We're and the money that I mean wise patterning, loving patterning, liberation patterning, so that this sense of presence, openness, that's what becomes normal. That's what becomes our home. And even though we might get carried away from it by whatever drama or distraction, what increasingly happens that the way back becomes easier, smoother, faster. So however much we get tumbled up, it's like we know where home is. Our home is in relaxation and openness and undefendedness and a kind of lightness of touch with life. Oh yeah. And our capacity to recover that openness and ease and lovingness, just the path to recovering that becomes smoother and easier and quicker and more natural feeling. This is the goodness of our practice. This is why we're here. So, please take your seat for meditation. Feel your posture. Let it be dignified, upright, bright and balanced. Let your posture also be easeful, natural, relaxed, gentle. Strong back, soft belly. Settling into the feel of sitting, as if your attention can soak in to the feel of being here, can soak into the sensations of breathing, and the blending of body and mind, of awareness and experience. Soaking, settling into presence. It doesn't much matter what's happening in your experience, what kind of thoughts might be going on. What matters much more is just the qualities that you bring to this moment. Quality of gentle presence, quality of openness, receptivity, quality of just sensing into and allowing breath to breathe, allowing sensations to happen, allowing sounds to come and go, allowing thoughts to flicker in the background, not taking any of it too personally. whatever's going on in your experience, whether pleasant or unpleasant, whatever your mind state is like, whether peaceful or agitated or whatever. So if you can find some quality of pleasure in being here, the pleasure of relaxing into your body, the pleasure of just releasing and releasing and releasing unnecessary thinking, the pleasure of a certain collectedness of body and mind, of not being dispersed or fragmented. The pleasure of meditation. Be gracious with your experience. When you notice that you've gotten distracted or lost in some thought stream, be gracious. No fuss, no blame, no judgment. Gracious, and yet also with the clarity to just drop it. Whatever it is, however compelling, just drop it. Drop it. No thought stream is worth chasing after, worth losing yourself in the machinations of I and me and my. Drop it and rest in presence. Giving yourself a chance to taste the pleasure of meditation, the pleasure of presence, of a unified field of body and mind and world. And the taste of a deep harmony in which everything participates, even while on the surface there may be conflicts and contradictions. Deep harmony. last few minutes of the sitting. Notice if any tension, any striving has built up in the last little while. Or if there's any mind state that's got some friction to it, some impatience or some resistance, some grumpiness maybe, some dissatisfaction. And just seeing whatever you notice, just seeing if you can kind of just give it all away. That doesn't mean to make it disappear. It means just being gracious. Letting your experience be free to come and go without grasping it, without identifying with it. Not my body, just the sensations of this moment, not my mind, just the formations of this moment. Not my problem. Just the life of body, mind, world. Letting it all go so as to meet it all more fully, more fluidly, more freely. Thank you for the goodness of your practice. May it flourish and grow and be of deep and lasting and unimaginable benefit to you and those around you and those you love and those you have contact with and those you have conflict with, and to all beings, to all of life everywhere. Today's podcast is an offering to you from our archive of freely available live daily classes. We make wisdom teachings and meditations as freely available as possible to as many people as wish to practice. You can help ensure we can continue to support a worldwide Sangha by leaving a review wherever you get your podcasts, by sharing this with someone who'd be interested, and by offering a small financial support at sangha.live/donate.